What career field are you representing?
I am representing social workers, but also the human service career cluster.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about that field in general?
In general, people in the human service profession are going to be aware of human behavior, kind of how that different things play a part in our human behavior, such as social economic status, just where we are in our family, birth order, just different things, where we're at in life, child development, or human development really, and just kind of have a general knowledge of that.
What jobs are available in that career field?
There's a variety of jobs. In the bachelor level, that's where you're going to make, unfortunately, the least amount of money, but that is where you can be caseworkers. You can work in child welfare cases. The people who come and analyze whether or not someone should be removed from their home typically have a bachelor's degree in something like that. And when you get into the master's level, that's where you can get into supervision of those type of people, being a therapist, obviously a school social worker. And then with your doctorate, it really just depends on what career pathway you go. A doctorate in school social work, or not school social work, doctorate in social work only really allows me to become a professor. Like, that's the only door it opens that right now is closed to me. Which is why I don't have my doctorate in it.
So what is the job that you have?
I am a school social worker. I have to have my master's degree in social work to have this job, and I have to be carrying my license, my social work license.
All right. How did you get your social work license?
I took a test. Basically, you have to take a licensing test. You pay for the test and take it. You take it right out of school, you're going to be much more likely to pass the test. I'm not good with standardized testing, but I was able to pass it. I only passed it by, I think 1 extra point, but whatever, it's passing. I have my license, I get to move on with it.
What exactly do you do as a school social worker?
So school social workers can do, it really depends on how they're hired. A lot of school social workers are hired through special education funds. So if they're hired through special education funds, they only work with special education students, working on their IEPs and their goals and things like that. I am hired through general education funds, so I can work with special education. I work with all the students, but then also I get to do a variety of other things, such as presentations on education that you guys will see one next week. I get to work with the administrators on kind of creating plans for the school, where the school is going to go, not necessarily curriculum, because that's not my expertise, but just I bring that mental health side of what we should be doing in the school to try and help that. I deal a lot with the attendance here and trying to get kids to come to school. And then I also here work with what's called our student improvement team. So if a student it's a group of teachers, if a student's not being successful, we kind of try and analyze and figure out how could we help them be more successful.
What's special about your job, and why did you specifically choose being a school social worker over any other job in the human services field, or being any other kind of social worker?
I like that I get to do more than just one-on-one therapy. And if I was in a community mental health center, that's what I would do, is one-on-one therapy or family therapy, and it would just be therapy all day long. I also like that when I do therapy, I get to see the students, I get to see you guys interact. So you guys can tell me stuff, but then I get to go see you guys in the school setting and see what's truly happening and kind of be aware of you guys as a whole. And then lastly, I love the hours. I love being in a school setting. I like having summers off just like everyone else would.
What can you tell us that students hoping to be in the human services field or even being a social worker would need to know?
Well, they would need to know a lot about human behavior and why we think and feel the way we do. But I think also just have that drive to but long before I was a social worker, I was very aware of human behavior and very interested in why do we think and feel the way we do. My husband jokes that I love to watch reality TV, but for me it's kind of just seeing people in different light and seeing what we do, why do we do that, why is that person doing that thing. And so I think having that desire of why are we doing that, just as I think the medical doctor who's like a neurosurgeon, really what's going on in the brain, I really want to know that. But just that drive, but then also being a natural helper. And the biggest thing is being able to handle stress in an appropriate manner. When I work with you guys, and I think any good social worker, there's nothing, I should not ask you guys to do anything that I wouldn't be willing to do myself. So especially as I'm trying to help people basically improve their life or whatever, I also need to be able to do that, to analyze my life and try to work to make it better if need be.
What college did you go for to become a social worker? And if you could change anything about that, what would you change?
Well, I went to K-State to get my bachelor's in psychology, and then I went to Washburn to get my master's in social work. I really don't think I would change that because I do like having the psychology background on top of the social work. It kind of gives me two, I wouldn't say different, but it is two different perspectives on why we think and feel. If somebody was really gung-ho to be a social worker and that's what they want to do, they could do a 5-year track and have their master's degree. If I had gotten my bachelor's in social work, I would not have had to go to grad school for as long. So that is a benefit. However, I kind of like the way mine happened, so I don't know if I would change that.
All right. What is something that makes a hopeful social worker or someone in the human services field successful?
Confidence. I would say just being confident and being aware. It's definitely higher level thinking to analyze why am I thinking the way I'm thinking. And I think it definitely takes a lot of self-reflection. Even when I work with students one-on-one, I need to self-reflect, was there something I could have done better? How could I have done this differently to get somebody? So it's a lot of being able to self-reflect, analyze, but also do that same thing to people, and then just being aware of what we do and how we think and how we feel. In our society, not everyone's aware of what we're doing. And so it does definitely take that.
All right. And lastly, is there any tips or advice that you could give to anybody that wants to go into the field, or even anything that you think it would be important to know?
I mean, definitely, if you want to go into the career field, by all means go into it. Just be aware you're going to take on other people's burdens, so make sure that you're okay with that. And that the school will teach you, getting your master's will teach you a little bit of how to do that and how to handle stress and how to work through that. That's a huge part of it, is what's called self-care and how to care for yourself. Because if I'm not in my best state, I'm not going to be effective to someone else. So making sure that you're okay with that. But being a natural helper helps a lot. Being a natural analyzer helps a lot as well. And then, I think, especially as we look into schools and how am I going to pay for school, there is funds out there put in place by the government to help pay back student loans as a social worker. There's the student loan forgiveness. Social workers, teachers, nurses all kind of fall into that. They're helping professions that are seen as not making a lot of money. And so I didn't qualify because I graduated too early, but if you were to get your degree now, you could qualify. You just have to work 10 years. And then the government will pay on your student loans, and then your government will pay back the rest of your student loans up to $50,000. So it's a great way, if I'm really interested in the career field, but I'm not sure I can pay for it all, there are things out there to help with that, which is nice.
All right, that's all the questions we have for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.